What's up everyone? So got the Livescope installed. Rather than do a long 25-30 minute video of each item as I installed it, I decided to just do a quick overview of what I did in order to avoid the boredom that exists on YouTube videos. The biggest thing that I found to be an issue was figuring out where you were going to install the GLS 10 box and how are you going to run your electrical, including the dedicated lithium battery for the Livescope. Unlike bigger bass boats on the Tracker Pro 170, you're limited with the amount of space that you have to install all this equipment. A lot of YouTube videos said it's a super easy install. I found it to be a complete pain in the ass on this boat. Lots of folks installed their GLS 10 black box in the rod locker. Unfortunately, my rod locker is full of rods and it wasn't an option, and I didn't want to run more wires through separate compartments in order to get it installed. So let's talk about what you need in order to complete your Livescope install. You'll need your Garmin Livescope transducer. I ended up purchasing the LVS 32 since it was on sale, and I believe that it would work perfectly for what I do. The next thing you'll need is a graph that's compatible with Panoptic's Livescope. In order to get the best and most out of your Livescope, a dedicated battery for your Livescope and your graph is the way to go. Another thing I did was purchase 10 gauge wire in order to run it from the lithium battery to a fuse block. And from the fuse block, I ran the graph, Livescope, and voltmeter for the battery in order to keep track of how many volts are on that battery. Let's take a look at what I did. As you can see, my rod locker is full of rods, and normally folks would mount it somewhere here on the other side, but that's not an option on my boat. Some folks take that lid off and install their black box into there and then run the wires through, and I didn't want to do that either. What I chose to do is make a custom box. I bought this utility box at Walmart for $7. I added areas to run the wires through. I added a voltmeter to give me the voltage on the battery. I put a kill switch on here, but within 2 days of the install, that kill switch stopped working. And I don't feel like running a Perco switch because I can easily disconnect that battery at the leads. That 12 volt battery is extremely light. You could hold it with one finger. I think the battery itself is 4 pounds plus the box, not much weight. This way you can remove the box. I may end up installing the box and actually secure it into the floor. So with the custom box, I've got the charging wire, which that's the charger that comes with the amped outdoors. You got to buy it separately. I'll put links to all these. And I got these 10 gauge wires running from the leads through an opening in the back of the battery box. And then I've got these which run to that voltmeter. I ended up installing the Livescope and everything else in this forward compartment since I really didn't have much use for it, since my tackle and everything else is in the back of the boat. From the battery box, I've got the 10 gauge wire going to the fuse block. At the fuse block, I've got a 7.5 amp fuse, which is going to the Livescope. A 3 amp fuse here, which is for the graph up front for the Garmin 93 SV, and another one here for the voltmeter. The Livescope box here, the GLS 10, is mounted on the side wall. You got to make sure that it is secure. It's not going anywhere. And got the transducer cable installed. We've got the network cable, which goes to the graph, and the power cable. This is all run through an opening I set here in the front, on the front deck. I've got my Lowrance, which is powered directly from a separate battery in that front compartment. Then my Garmin 93 SV, which is powered by that lithium battery as well as the Livescope. I installed the Garmin Livescope transducer on the barrel of the trolling motor, just aft of the center. And the reason why is on the Terrova, you can't install it up toward the front because you have this and you also have the skeg, which is in the way. So it's on the aft section. It's in the forward mode only. I have it taped off to protect it, as well as taped off around this area. I've got slack in the line here. I put this on the motor area in order to keep the cable centered. I also got this nylon sleeving from Amazon, 1/2 inch, which allowed me to run basically majority of the length of that transducer cable. And it's 10 feet long, I believe, which was a big help. The cable is run up here. I bought that for 25 bucks at Walmart. I'll have to drill that out more, and I'll probably cut that out, and I'll create a way to keep it inside here. But then the cable runs down here and it's out of the way really when it's deployed. We'll go ahead and deploy it. That cable runs freely through this area as well as down here, not even close to the prop. No pinching in the wire. Transducer cable is completely out of the way. What we'll do now is check to make sure that when the trolling motor turns, that this cable doesn't get pinched or caught up. The battery in my remote's dead. So we'll use the foot pedal. Absolutely no issue with pinching. Cable doesn't get caught. Got no issues. And I think this is probably one of the cleanest ways to install it, rather than wrapping it and doing that whole bit. It's just the way I'm doing it. You can do it however you want. Lots of great ideas out there on YouTube. So now we'll stow it. No issues, no pinching, stows easily without any issue. There we go. So the biggest issues that I ran into with the install were, one, location, where I was going to install the black box, how the wiring was going to work, where the fuse block was going to go, the lithium battery that's running the dedicated power to the Livescope and the graph, running the wires themselves. So you've got your network cable you got to run, your transducer cable, your power cable, and your power cable from the graph, all to an area that you decide to use. All of that is somewhat a pain in the ass on this model boat. It'd be a pain in the ass, I'm assuming, on the Tracker Pro 170, the Classic XL, or really most of the Tracker boat lines that are 17 foot and less, except for maybe the TX 175 or whatever they're called. So that's my install. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, please add a comment below with your question. I'll make sure that I get you an answer. And once again, I'll list all the items that I purchased that were required for the install below the video in the description. Thanks for checking the video out. I hope it helps you guys. I hope it helps someone with a similar boat. I really look forward to getting this thing out on the water and trying that Livescope out. I'll post videos as I try to figure out and learn how to use the Livescope, because it'll be a whole new way of fishing for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys next time.